are the top most visited websites by Indian internet users, we see that out of the top 5, 3 are social media websites. Facebook, YouTube, and Blogger figure prominently in the top 5 visited websites by Indian users. Now, let's move on from this basic introduction on how the web is going social to looking at how we can uncover and gather the metrics. And what are the metrics provided by social media sites themselves? Firstly, a metric is a measuring system that quantifies a trend or a dynamic or characteristic. In virtually all disciplines, practitioners use metrics to explain a phenomenon. And there is an overdose of metrics, if you ask me, in social media. Every like, every comment, every impression, every click, every interaction is analyzed and at sometimes overanalyzed. So what are the metrics that really do matter? Firstly, we need to answer the question, why do we need to measure? The first answer is financial return. For most marketers and brands, branding in turn relates to sales, which means financial return. Second is accountability. If you are going to invest on this medium, there has to be an accountability for the medium to repay back some amount of return to you, either in visibility or in improving of sales, improving of word of mouth, improving of brand impression, something. Demonstrate value and impact. It has to change some behavior, some habit that the consumer has towards your brand, towards your objective. Assessing resource need. Now, whether you need 10 people to manage social media or 4 people, you need to assess that only once you analyze what are the metrics that social media is providing. If social media brings in, let's say, 100 product sale, then maybe 5 people deployed in managing social media makes sense. But if social media does not deliver X amount of return for you, then does the 3 people or the 4 people or the 5 people that you have employed in social media make sense? That's the question you can answer. The 5th is testing, or the 6th is the testing and hypothesis. You may assume that the consumer is interested in X, but you can't possibly say that without measuring social media. So your Facebook fan page can tell you that consumers like mango juice more than orange juice. Now the way to do this is by analyzing and keeping a track on the conversations that consumers have on social media about these 2 types of products. And that you can test your hypothesis on social media through that as well. So these are the reasons why one needs to measure social media. The upside of measuring social media is data persistence. You have data every day, every hour, every second. And there is data right from the clicks to the likes to what the consumer commented on your page at what time. You can even track the tweet or the retweets that you're getting. You can track the blog comments. There is persistent data daily, hourly, and in some cases it's within minutes, depending upon the community that you're managing on social media. Data searchability. The beauty about social media metric is that you can go back in time. You can search what was the statistics showing you 1 year back, 1 month back. If you log your social media data and you analyze it over time, you will be able to search and analyze what trends have changed in the way consumers are behaving or interacting with you. The third is public information. Because your competitors are also on this medium and are also managing their own social media presence, you have public insight into their brands. What are they updating? How many comments or likes they are getting per post? How many retweets are they getting? What's the kind of comments they are getting on their blogs? And so on and so forth. So you can clearly calculate your competitor interaction level and understand how well they are doing on social media and build intelligence and insight from that. The 4th is several APIs available. There is Facebook API, Twitter API, Google Maps API, and several other APIs that are available, LinkedIn API, YouTube API as well, that can allow you to extract data and use technology and tools to map comparison charts, to map growth charts for your own brand, to map insight into which consumers are the topmost interacting consumers on your brand page or your Twitter page per se. And these APIs allow you to do that. Also, the another upside of social media metrics is the several levels of measurement. You can measure the views, you can measure the comments, which is the engagement, you can further measure the click-through to the website, you can then measure the conversion on the website and relate it back to your social media presence. And that's where it also gets a little complicated. The downside of social media metrics is the differences between social media sites. So no one out there can actually compare a retweet versus a share on Facebook. How do you compare it? What's the value of a retweet, even if it is retweeted to exactly 300 users on Twitter and the exact share count is also 300 on Facebook? Which one is more valuable? It's difficult to say. Platforms are architectured differently, consumed differently, and hence there are differences between the social media sites themselves when it comes to measuring the metrics. Obviously, this leads to inconsistent terminology and thereby the confusion. In the olden days, people used to get confused between hits and clicks. Now it's the like and tweets and the retweets and the tweet reach, for that matter, as some may say, as far as the metrics are concerned. So these are the challenges when it comes to the ups and downs of social media metrics. But can we have a framework? Can we look at how we can elaborate our social media structure or social media framework in such a way that it helps us understand metrics better? The simple rule is objectives drive what you measure and how much. You need to have objectives at the center of your social media measurement. Your objective could simply be awareness about your brand. Your objective could simply be, I want more and more people to subscribe to my blog feed, and hence I'm going to use social media, which is Facebook, Twitter, to drive towards my blog. So then your tracking would be how many people are clicking on a link on Facebook and Twitter. So clearly, your strategy should be to first define your business objectives and identify the required insights. If you are in a business where people need to be convinced through charts, graphs, or people need to be convinced through long, detailed analysis, then maybe Facebook and Twitter, which only allow a few character publishing, or at least the attention span of the user is low in these platforms, may not be the right platforms for you. You may want to look at creating your own insightful blog with long charts and long information and use Facebook and Twitter as maximization medium. Hence, once you have this strategy in place, you define the success metrics that are there. What is your success metric? Is it the click-through rate from social media to your website? Is it the number of likes that you're getting, because that tells you how many people are becoming aware of your brand? Is it the number of comments per post, which is average increasing, and the sentiment within those comments? What is the success metric that you want to place, which defines the success of your brand on social media based on your objectives? Then you move on to identifying resources within your organization and identifying the required training they need to actually apply these metrics and track social media performance day on day. Once they are in place, you identify the tools based on strategy metrics and the type of organization you are to identify which tool you will use to analyze which medium. For example, you could go with a tool that analyzes all your mediums together, or with specific tools for specific mediums. If your brand is more focused on Facebook, it could use a tool that analyzes Facebook metrics more deeply than the others. And that's how you identify tools as well based on strategy, metrics, and organization, and how well versed your internal team is to handle the same. Moving on, these are the category or the channels of communication on social media. There are the social network sites, there's Facebook, LinkedIn, which are really popular today.